Eric Dayne, the name alone carries weight. For more than 3 decades, Eric Dayne was not just an actor on a screen. He was a presence, a voice, a familiar face that stepped into living rooms week after week and made people feel something real. So when news broke that Eric Dayne had passed away at the age of 53, it did not land like ordinary entertainment news. It did not feel distant or abstract. It felt personal, intimate, and deeply unsettling, as though someone familiar had quietly left the room without warning. Before discussing burial arrangements or a final goodbye, it is important to understand why this loss has resonated so strongly. Eric Dayne's career was built on connection. Yes, he was talented. Yes, he was charismatic. But what truly set him apart was the humanity he carried into every role and every space he entered. He never treated acting as a performance detached from real emotion. He treated it as a bridge between people. For millions around the world, Eric Dayne will always be remembered as Dr. Mark Sloan on Grey's Anatomy. The character was confident, charming, and often reckless, yet deeply human. Eric gave Mark Sloan vulnerability beneath bravado. He allowed audiences to see insecurity behind confidence and tenderness behind charm. Over time, Mark Sloan became more than a fictional surgeon. He became a companion to viewers who followed his growth, his mistakes, his love, and his heartbreak. When that character's journey ended, many fans felt genuine grief, a testament to how honestly Eric Dayne inhabited the role. Yet his career extended far beyond one defining performance. Years later, his work on Euphoria revealed a completely different side of his range. The role demanded restraint, discomfort, and emotional risk. Eric approached it with seriousness and care, never choosing the easy interpretation. Colleagues later shared that he was not interested in applause or praise. He was interested in truth. That commitment to authenticity defined his work until the very end. When news of his passing became public, tributes arrived immediately, and they were strikingly personal. Creator Sam Levinson spoke of heartbreak and gratitude in the same breath. He described working with Eric as an honor, but being his friend as a gift. Journalist Maria Shriver, who had been working closely with him on his memoir, spoke about his courage in choosing openness while living with ALS. She emphasized that he did not share his illness for sympathy, but for understanding. Actress Alyssa Milano remembered the spark in his eyes, the moment before he would say something playful, bold, or unexpectedly profound. Co-stars such as Kevin McKidd reflected on years of laughter, chemistry, and friendship behind the scenes. But beyond the industry voices, the most powerful tributes have come from those who knew Eric Dayne not as a celebrity, but as a husband and a father. His wife, Rebecca Gayheart, has remained largely out of the public eye since his passing. Those close to the family say this choice reflects who Eric was at his core. According to friends, Rebecca described him as the steady center of our home. She spoke of how he never allowed work to overshadow family dinners, how he guarded time with their daughters as something sacred, and how even during the most difficult months of illness, he tried to protect his family from fear. In private moments, she reportedly shared that Eric's greatest concern in his final year was not his own condition, but whether his daughters would always feel how deeply he loved them. He wanted them to remember his laughter more than his struggle, his playful humor, his silly dances in the kitchen, the way he would sit at the edge of their beds and talk long after bedtime had passed, listening carefully, fully present. Family members say one of the most emotional moments came when his daughters offered their own private farewell. They described their father as our hero, not because he was famous, not because he appeared on television, but because he showed up. He attended school events, he listened without distraction, he asked about their day even when he was exhausted. Even as his health declined, he made sure their voices were heard before his own. One family member recalled that Eric often said, "The only role that truly matters is Dad." Those words have now become a quiet anchor for the family as they grieve. They are a reminder that beyond awards, scripts, and public recognition, Eric Dayne defined his life by love and presence. His openness about ALS became one of the defining chapters of his final year. Instead of retreating into privacy, Eric chose visibility. He spoke about the diagnosis honestly. He described the physical changes, the emotional weight, and the uncertainty that came with it. He wanted people to understand the disease. He wanted awareness to grow. He wanted research to advance. In doing so, he transformed personal suffering into public advocacy, offering comfort to families who felt unseen in their own battles. Friends say this courage is something his family hopes to carry forward. Conversations are already taking place among those close to him about continuing to support ALS awareness and research in his name, not as a publicity gesture, but as a meaningful extension of his voice and values. As the family prepares for their final goodbye, those close to them say the burial will reflect who Eric truly was: grounded, private, and sincere. There is no desire for spectacle, no red carpet, no cameras lining the road. Instead, what is expected is an intimate gathering surrounded by close friends and loved ones. Colleagues from Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria are believed to be offering their support quietly, without fanfare or public attention. One close family friend described the tone of the farewell as a celebration of presence. Stories will likely be shared about Eric's humor, about his loyalty, about his habit of calling friends unexpectedly just to check in, about the spark in his eyes before delivering a perfectly timed joke. These are the memories that matter now, the moments that outlast any performance. There may be music, possibly some of his favorite songs. There may be passages read from his unfinished memoir, words he wanted his children to one day hold onto, and there will almost certainly be tears, not only for what was lost but for what was given so generously. Because the theme that echoes through every tribute is consistent and clear. Eric Dayne showed up. He showed up for his work. He showed up for his friends. He showed up for his family. And when illness arrived, he showed up for others facing the same fight. At 53, his passing feels heartbreakingly early. There were more stories to tell, more milestones to celebrate, more birthdays, more holidays, more ordinary mornings that now feel priceless in hindsight. Yet those who loved him say his life, though shorter than hoped, was full of laughter, full of honesty, full of courage. He chose truth over silence, love over ego, presence over performance. As fans continue to ask about funeral and burial details, it is important to be clear about what is confirmed. As of now, no official public date or location for Eric Dayne's funeral or burial has been announced. The family has requested privacy during this deeply personal time. If and when details are shared, they will come directly from those closest to him. For now, the farewell remains private, a circle of family and trusted friends saying goodbye away from flashing cameras and headlines. And perhaps that is fitting. Because while millions knew Eric Dayne the actor, only a few knew him as husband, father, brother, and friend. Those are the roles that will define this final goodbye. Those are the roles that will echo in quiet moments long after the world moves on to the next headline. Eric Dayne's burial will not mark the end of his story. His story continues in every episode rewatched, every laugh remembered, every ALS patient who feels less alone because he chose to speak. Most of all, it continues in the lives of his wife and daughters, the people who carry his heart forward. And sometimes, the most powerful goodbye is not the one we see. It is the one whispered between loved ones, held in memory and carried for a lifetime.